Right, in the previous video, we were looking at the basic information about My Last Duchess. So we know that the poem was written by Robert Browning. It was based on the story of the Duke of Ferrara, who potentially could have been a real person, and it was written in, well, it was set in the 16th century, which is the 1500s in Italy. So now we're going to start looking at the poem itself and finding out more about the story. So we start off with the Duke here, okay? The Duke is a very proud man. What is he proud of? He is proud of his 900-year-old name. Now, I'm not saying that his first name is 900 years old or that he is 900 years old. I'm talking about his family name. Okay, to be a duke, you would have had a name or a surname, okay, your family name that would have gone back a very long time. So he is very proud to have a 900-year-old name. Okay, that is what he values the most. And this dukedom, okay, and his 900-year-old name, they give him a very high status in society, which in turn gives him quite a bit of wealth. Okay, he has quite a bit of money, which we're going to see more of later, but we know right now that this Duke has a 900-year-old name that he's very proud of. He's got a very high status in society, so he has a lot of power, and he has a lot of money as well because of that. Right, so at the beginning of this poem, the Duke is having a feast, he's having a banquet. Okay, who is at the banquet? At the banquet is his new fiance's father. So he's definitely trying to impress this person. Okay, at this banquet, the Duke, okay, he takes the servant and shows the fiance's father, who is a count, okay, he shows the count's servant all these beautiful art pieces that he has. He has a lot of collections of art and he's very proud of that. At one of these paintings, though, he stops and he says to the servant, this painting is very special, okay? This painting, as you can see, has curtains in front of it. No one else can have a look at this painting apart from me. I decide who looks at it and I have control of it. Okay? In a way, if we are trying to look at the character of the Duke right now, we could say a way to describe him is that he's very domineering. Okay, he's very controlling. He has control over a lot of money. He has control over servants. He has control over even the artwork and who sees it. That is a real high amount of control that he has. So he says to the servant, but you're very lucky today because I am going to let you see this painting that not everyone can see. Okay, this painting that's hidden behind these curtains. So when he pulls these curtains aside, we can see that the painting is of his last Duchess. Right, there she is, the last Duchess. Okay, now she's quite beautiful. At this point, though, the servant asks why she looks the way that she does, because she looks very interesting. There's a particular thing about her that stands out. And the Duke tells the servant that the thing that stands out about his last Duchess is her blushing. Okay, she appears to be blushing in the painting. Of course, the servant at this point assumes that she has been painted to blush in this certain way. But the Duke says to him that he thinks the reason that his last Duchess, his last wife, was blushing so much in this painting was because the famous painter, I'm going to give him a little beret so we know he's a painter. Okay, the famous painter called Fra Pandolf, and we know that because it says his name in the poem, that he must have said something to the Duchess to make her blush. Maybe talking about how beautiful that she is, or talking about asking her to reveal her wrists, okay, which would have been very controversial at the time. It would have been quite flirtatious for you to expose your wrists, okay? Or even, he thinks, what the painter might have said to her, the Duchess, is that the paint couldn't possibly explain how beautiful she is, that there is no way that he can paint true enough to show her true beauty. Right, and this seems to annoy the Duke quite a lot, because he is angry that the Duchess should be blushing for someone else. Okay? Now, the Duke also tells the servant that his late wife, the Duchess, as well as blushing in this painting, she seemed to blush at things quite often. That seemed to be something that she did a lot. And almost that she blushed too much, and possibly even that she liked things too much, or she liked people too much. The things that she liked may have been the sunset, so she enjoyed to watch the sunset. That she liked a bough of cherries, or just a bunch of cherries. So she liked a lot of things that were quite beautiful and quite delicate. She even liked her white horse that he got for her. She would ride it often. Okay? And that she seemed to like everyone. So normally this would be quite a good thing to have someone who is so nice and kind and likes a lot of things. But for some reason, the Duke is almost saying that this is a bad thing, that this was something that was wrong with the Duchess. That maybe she didn't value things the way they should. So if she had his 900-year-old name, he thought that that should be more valuable than something like some cherries, or that should be more important to her than the horse or anyone else. Okay, so he was upset, apparently, at the fact that she did not value him more for the 900-year-old name that he gave her, because by giving her that name, he in turn gave her a higher status. Okay, she was then elevated by that name. So he is saying, well, if I gave her this 900-year-old name, which gave her access to all these beautiful things that she liked. Okay, she only got the horse because he gave it to her. She was able to have the painting done because she was a duchess. So surely she should like him and blush more for him than for anyone else. Now, the Duke obviously seemed very angry and very upset at the fact that the Duchess was smiling for everyone, and she seemed to like everyone, and she was kind to everyone equally. That was a main thing for him, the fact that she was doing it equally and not putting him above others. So he decided to, as he put it, give commands. So we don't know what he said, but he did give a command. He told someone to do something. Although we don't know what that command was, we do know that after that point, all the smiles stopped. Okay? She didn't smile anymore. There is a bit of an implication, so there is a possibility that through his commands, he got her killed. Okay, it's implied through the way that he is talking about these smiles ending, the smiles stopping, and the fact that she is the last Duchess. Okay, that gives us a bit of a clue. So, after this point, the Duke turns to the servant and says they need to go back to the banquet because they haven't been there for a while. So people are going to be wondering where they are. As they are walking back, though, the Duke says something quite interesting to the servant. He is talking about the fact that the Count, which is his fiance's father, is very, very wealthy, is very, very rich. He has a lot of money. And therefore, because he is going to marry the Count's daughter, he should be able to ask the Count for anything that he wants. So he wants more money. He wants a higher status. He believes that because the Count has a lot of money and therefore his daughter has a lot of money, that he should be allowed to ask for anything. Okay, this tells us something else about him, possibly that he is quite greedy and that he is self-centered. Maybe he doesn't actually love the Count's daughter. Maybe he is there just for the money, and that is what he values, like his 900-year name. So, as they are talking about getting the money from the Count on the way back to the banquet, the Duke says something else to the servant, and he points something out to him. So, he turns to the servant as they're walking back and says, "Oh, I didn't show you this." So he's pointing at this statue, which is supposed to be Neptune, okay, the god of sea, taming a seahorse. So again, he is talking a lot about the kind of wealth that he has and the power, and particularly the kind of things that he owns. It is a lot about the ownership that he has. This is actually the last line of the poem. Okay, a key word that I think you should take from this last line is the word taming. Right? If you want to challenge yourself, what you can do is have a think back to the whole poem, and particularly look at how the character of the Duke is presented in relation to his last Duchess and what he does to her, and then have a think about the word taming. How does taming relate to the last Duchess? What happens to her? Okay, when we do a closer analysis of the poem, this word might come up quite often, and other words to do with this idea of taming.